Rexx Rektal has been keeping up with the so-called bailout of the American auto manufacturers. By the way, good move on them taking 3 separate corporate jets to Washington in order to beg for money. That was stupid. First, it is important to consider how they got into trouble, and this is an old story. In the 1970s, the Arabs caused an oil embargo, which caused a shift in the priorities of the American public from big cars to more efficient ones. At first, people had these little Japanese cars were scoffed at, and then there was a gasoline shortage. The American people wanted more efficient cars, and Japan had the supply. The American car manufacturers started a Buy American campaign, which was not very successful. There was one other thing about Japanese cars. They were much more reliable than their Detroit counterparts. The 80s saw Detroit retool to make more efficient cars, many of which, but not all, were much more reliable. The American auto industry began to do well again, temporarily. Then came 2 trends, one for EVs and another for SUVs. The EVs came out in the 1990s, and GM was head of the pack. There was also a new concept in the late 90s for hybrid cars. The US dropped the ball, and Toyota is the hybrid king today. Gas was cheap, and SUVs are not considered cars, but small trucks, therefore skirting CAFE standards. It seems that there are gas guzzlers in everyone's driveway. Gas prices go right up on cue. How was America duped a second time? Why did the public not notice this trend? It is because gas was cheap. Well, when gas went up, sales of gas guzzlers went down, hence the problem. The US auto industry was not ready for this, nor did they care. They just did the same thing over and over again. For GM to go back into the black, it is simple. Build the Volt. So many people want the Volt. It can be a runaway success. They say that the lithium batteries are not available yet. Not true. There are companies like LifePo that make a safe lithium battery right now. Just license their designs and get producing. The other 2 will sink or swim, or they will adapt to the new climate. Of course, this would not be a problem, except that Texaco owns the patents for nickel metal hydride batteries, and they refuse to allow the technology to be used in electric cars. Their patent runs out in 2015, so the situation is simply the waiting game. Rexx Rektal wonders how many people have a Toyota Prius that would have an EV1 if they were available, and not crushed by GM. Rexx Rektal has an idea for Detroit to get out of financial trouble, and it goes like this. Make better cars.